This is Rooted Cosmic Soul, sacrificing the patriarchy from a broom closet in the here and the there, offering rememberings in times of chaos and bullshit. I want to talk about endurance in these times. I've been hearing folks talk about those of us who are not moving abroad, who are some of us see it as being left behind, being left to pick up the pieces, being bamboozled, being trapped. There's all kinds of ways one could think about living behind the striped red, white, and blue Iron Curtain in 2025. And so there's conversations about endurance. Do I have the endurance for what is happening, for what is going to happen? And I want to offer the consideration that I imagine for many of us, when we hear the word endurance, there's a fairly masculine way to interpret the word endurance, right? How far can I go? Can I strap my kid on my back, a go bag on my shoulder, and flee if I need to? Do I have the endurance for that? Do I have the endurance to change the way I eat because food is really expensive or not accessible? Do I have the endurance to deal with whiteness that doesn't feel the need to hide anymore? And I think that all of those things are fair. I would definitely start with, how does one define endurance? What does that mean to you? And then I also want to remind folks of the counterpoint to the masculine idea that endurance is action, the counterpoint into the feminine side of that, of being. And remembering that endurance also includes how much compassion, grace, kindness can I have for myself in these times? Knowing that I'm doing the best I can. People around me are likely doing the best they can. Knowing that these times are pretty horrible and I'm feeling overwhelmed. And in those moments of overwhelmment, endurance can feel out of reach, or the way many of us have been trained to think about it, that we're failing, we're not enough, we're not doing it right, we're not enduring correctly. And I think a really beautiful way to sacrifice the patriarchy in how we're thinking about how we're enduring these times is to really, like I said, get clear of how you're defining it. I have to really check myself, because when I say enduring, honestly, I don't actually like the word of what's my endurance in these times, because for me, there's something about the word endurance and enduring that means putting up with the bullshit in a way that I don't want to put up with. Now, mind you, for my safety, maybe I have to. I don't know. Maybe. It's a choice. But I do like to think of myself as the enslaved African that ran north, didn't stay put. I wasn't I'm just going to hang out here and let this happen to me. Or actually, honestly, I'm the African mother who threw her baby overboard on the fucking ship on the way over, and herself. That's honestly, I like to think that's who I am. So I think about this in terms of endurance in 2025, moving forward in time. What does that actually mean? And I don't like to think of enduring as putting up with the bullshit, of just letting it happen, even if my mind can rationalize that I need to in order to survive. I'm not really interested in surviving. So I want to think about this idea of endurance to thrive. What does it mean to endure with the goal to thrive? Maybe that means gotta get out. Like we can't stay here. I don't know. But what does it mean for folks who can't get out? Like, not everyone has the means, the capacity, the family, the community, the place to go away. Many people are here. So again, what's the endurance needed? I think it's a very personal question, and then it's a collective question. And to remember that we can all, well, not all of us. Like, so the folks in my circle, in my community, the folks that I am letting in, maybe that's part of the endurance of getting really clear of who is my community, who are my people. And then within that sphere of people, we don't all have to agree on what endurance means for our individual eyes, but that we do have an agreement that our individual eyes are protected in the we, and that we are moving in a way that is about protection and boundaries for that we, and that's part of how we're defining endurance. You know, as I'm saying this, I don't know the history, but I'm getting a feeling like, you know what, like, fuck yeah, like there's likely a long history of enslaved people who understood endurance in a way that would be really helpful now. And that was part of the game plan, right? For us to not know our history. I've been having this I read this book a while ago by this white British lady. Her last name was Lister. It was a really good book. But she kept saying the same phrase over and over and over. And it's been coming back to me in the last 2-3 weeks. And it is remember, which remember. And so for folks who are colonized in Christian religion, that's going to be really triggering. This is not the channel for you. We're witches here. I'm casting this conversation from a freaking broom closet. Hello. If you didn't get it, now you get it. So a lot of the stuff that she was talking about was around her background in terms of Irish. I think it was Irish and like Scottish rememberings of her family, her matrilineal family having very clear connections to being pagans and connected to Earth, which I think is the case for many. Most of us don't have to go that far back to have people in our family that their concept of endurance was connected to their relationship to the Earth. And that relationship to the Earth was about their relationship to themselves. And that's where I come back to this idea of the offering of like this idea of endurance in this times. It's not just the active things that we are doing to protect ourselves externally with a real, yang kind of forceful, active outward gaze and movement. Yes, that's important. Let us also remember the importance of the intuitive, the inward gaze, the things that are movement, but they're movement and energy. So compassion, grace, kindness for myself, for the people around me that I want to offer compassion, grace, and kindness to. So that's my offering for now. This is Rooted Cosmic Soul, sacrificing the patriarchy from a broom closet. The energy here stays here. The energy there stays there. sentia later. Return when moved to do so. Same Bruja time, same Bruja channel.